Good morning, folks. Good morning. This is Spirit Journey. Today is Thursday, June 20th, 2019, and it is now 9:20 a.m. in the morning. I want to get some thoughts down before I forget. I was just thinking about two things I want to talk about. This person that I met a couple of years ago, and I bumped into him earlier this year, and about money and currency. Now, I also have to back up a little bit. Yesterday, I mailed this document. It was to the Naval Records to, again, make an additional request to get a copy of my file. I had gotten something in the mail from my old request that I did in January, and the request was to give me documents of my file at the time when I was in the military, in the Navy at that. And the return letter, the response letter that I got from them indicated that I need this document to prove who I am. I don't want to go in detail with that, but I needed to submit another document. And so I did that yesterday. And I attached with the original letter request. And I added more information, what I wanted, like if there's additional studies that were done on the post-military. Because I share with you guys that these things are happening within my body. And I go to the doctors, like to get this vibration at the base of my spine, and an incident that happened to me at a restaurant, me and another individual. So because of that, that's why I also added to my request any current studies that are being done on me. Okay? And then that had me think about this individual that I met, this man that I met just a couple of years ago while I was walking my dogs. And he lives in my neighborhood, and once in a blue moon I bump into him. He's a black man, and yes, he's from the street, and he is who he is. And he was telling me certain stories about himself, and I feel badly for him. And he has, I think he said, 17 children, and his wife had died of cancer, and so the government took away some of his children, and his youngest was a boy at the time, and the boy could have been roughly 10 years old, I think. He's a young kid. But they said that he's brilliant. He has a genius mind. He's a genius, and the father claims that he was labeled as a genius, someone with a high IQ. But it's interesting. Here, he's a brilliant man, but yet he's off the street, and it's like that's what they want him to be. The guy, he could be in his 40s, late 30s, 40s. I would say more than 40s. But either way, I started thinking about him, and if I see him again, what I would tell him. So I did bump into him maybe a month or so ago, and it's the same as, he's locked in the system. But I think his son, like when he told me about his son, his young son at the time, the son did graduate from high school. So the son is at least 17 years of age. But the father was telling me that the son was put in a special school upstate somewhere, upstate New York. And that the father was not allowed to visit. That he had custody of some other kids of his, so it's not like he can't be around children. He has custody of his older children. But they say he's not allowed to visit, but he can call once in a while. It doesn't sound good to me. It sounds suspicious if you ask me. But with all these things happening, that I'm starting to see patterns, things that don't make sense, I would tell this father for him to get copies of his records, to do a freedom of information and get his son's records, to know what tests he received, and to even know his IQ and what any experimentations he was doing. What the system was doing and who was doing it. Get to see his complete medical file, his school file, to find out what experiments they've been doing. I don't trust what I'm hearing, what's done to the son. And the son sounds like, now again, this so-called brilliance or high IQ, but yet I sense that he's going to fall into criminality. Like the lost black soul. You can't get a job and you just fall into crime. That scenario, that's what I sense was going to happen to him. And that's why I want intervention done for this family, this boy. Yeah, you're a brilliant mind, right? But not receiving the joys, the benefits of having a brilliant mind. But because you're black, they're going to do these things to you. And it's not fair. So I asked myself, what could they have done to the boy? I started thinking about these programs. Like I interviewed this man named Tony Rodriguez last year in February 2018. I did a 4-hour interview with him. And he talked about him being in school, and then he was taken, and they put him in a 20 years and back program. I know it sounds very far-fetched, but he said that when he was taken out of his room, and they have this, they're able to time regress. They're able to take you and then bring you back into the time when they had initially taken you. So your parents, you could be in your room sleeping, and then they bring you back. It could have been 20 years, 10 years, whatever, how many years, and then bring you back where you started from, so no one knows the better. Again, this was what he shared, and it's what a lot of people in the community, that genre community are saying. I know it sounds very far-fetched. But then I started thinking again, okay, you have people who are being kidnapped, people who are being experimented on, and people who are being sent to other worlds, according to these people. So then I started thinking about, what is it all about labor? Why do these societies need anything? Why do they need this labor? That you just get a computer, robot or something? Why do you need human labor? And then I started thinking about money, like we're here on planet Earth. But I look around, and I just see everybody buzzing about. We're in like a robotic state, some of us. And I'm sure I look like that too when I'm real tired and just racing there and back, from appointments or whatever I have to go. So we're all being driven. And what's driving us here in this world is money. And again, money is currency. And I'm studying I was thinking, I said, what is money? I don't really understand what money is. It's just a piece of paper. And if you try to duplicate that paper, it's called counterfeit and you get thrown in jail. Okay? This money, or the concept of money, is powerful, and it's what is driving us to do things. You can get the nicest person and tell them, hey, we'll only give you X amount of money per hour. And people are, and if you don't do well, we're going to fire you. So that fear. So you can get the nicest person, and if they don't perform, they get fired, and no currency/money. And what people do when they're afraid, they can do anything. Some people steal, right? So this is what's being done in many communities in America. That you take a population, such as black men in particular, and then say you can't get a job here. So what's going to happen? Criminality. They're going to be desperate. They're going to maybe sell drugs, or maybe rip off somebody, right? Aren't those the things that can happen? You bet. And that is what's happened. And then what happens next? What happens next is jail. And what happens when you go to jail? You get thrown in a cell, right? What is a cell? A cell is like you have the cells of your body. It generates energy. Each of those bodies represents energy. It represents money. So money, whether it be a penny or a dollar bill, look at it closely. It's just made out of paper or copper, right? How could this have power over, let's say you could have, instead of using paper, what about a little pebble? A little pebble on or grain of sand. Well, it doesn't matter what the object is. It's what it represents. And what money represents, I see, is human labor. And recently, the minimum wage, at least in New York, has changed. Now it's $15 an hour. 15, that's 1.5. Do you think people are going to be living better? It doesn't matter what you change it, because see, they're going to change the other end. You get paid more money per hour, and they raise the taxes, they raise your rent, they raise the price of food, they raise the price of transportation, etc. Right? So why all this mess? Well, again, this is like they want to generate activity, energy, because they want to feed off of it. We're trapped in the system called money, the monetary system. And I was told, what's interesting, I was told this yesterday, that something about central banks, that they only, what they call the secret space program and the like, they only mess with individuals who are part of the central bank system. The central bank system. So it's just a handful of nations. I think they said 6 nations that's not part of the central bank. And so they're not using them. Okay, so I guess it's the different system that governs them. But see, most of us are in the central bank system, or living in nations that participate in the central bank. And so the bank and the money represents activity. And people on earth are being encouraged for activity. And you notice that when you, let's say, work what they call under the table, that's considered illegal. It's not illegal to work, but it's illegal when you don't share that money. That means the currency that you're doing activity that is not under the central bank system. they're not benefiting off of your labor. And the money, the physical money, is just a physical representation that, yes, you have a right, you can work because we already tapped into your energy via money. That means you're working for somebody who's under the central bank system, who's allowing you to work X amount of hours. So that means that it's guaranteed, okay, like a slave, okay, slave, you did this amount of work. You put in your energy in the system, and that's what they want. They want your energy. The physical cash or the coins or check that they gave you is just representing proof that you worked under and for the central bank system. So how do you get out of this? I'm seeing that this is what's going on. So you keep on working and keep on working and keep on working to feed in the system. All work has to be registered, like a slave. At the end of the day, okay, how much cotton did you pick? Okay, that represents, they know how much energy is required for them to pick 10 pounds of cotton, 50 pounds of cotton, 100 pounds of cotton. It represents energy. And it represents time. And so they tap into that, and then they let you go. And then the cycle begins again. And you have to pay more and more, okay? More and more. So this is really something. So when you go to school, so they have it designated where you're going to work. What type of people are going to work in a particular place? Why? I don't know. I would imagine it's an agreement that's being made. There is some type of agreement that is high up, that is so compartmentalized that they want, that they're really organizing who goes where, who goes to what school. I used to work in the private sector. And you know, in the private sector, the higher up you go, I kid you not, the higher up you go, the less physical work you do. And the more benefits you get. I kid you not. Work, where you have a lot of so-called minorities / people of the African diaspora in the Americas, they get paid the least. And they work the longest hours. I used to live and work in the Caribbean. They work long hours and they get paid less than the people here in the U.S. mainland, in the Northeast. Start evaluating. So energy, some people are required to do less energy, yet get paid more money. And that's because, in part, I think, because they're more in the, not that they know, but they're saying, okay, you're upholding the system, and we need people in certain positions to uphold it, and they're following the program. They may not know what's going on, but they're doing their function, and it benefits us. And so we'll reward them. You know who else that they reward? Actors and actresses. They're just behind the screen, you know, they go on a set, movie set, and they say a bunch of lines, and they get paid in the millions, some of them. Yeah? Why is that? Because they're serving a need. When you look at those films, the viewer is generating energy. You're getting excited. Don't you notice a lot of films, they have, it's always like in the United States, they always have films with certain men, like men with guns and shoot. And I never understood why they're running and with a gun. And you notice oftentimes he's wearing a business suit and tie. Why is this? Why is this? Why are we watching? Well, I think the movie theater, you know, in movie theaters, they have a very tall ceiling. What other structure has tall ceilings in general? Churches. Churches have high ceilings. Well, imagine with a high ceiling, you'd be able to trap in more energy, right? It's energy being produced when you're watching these films, especially those what they call action films. You know what seems to make the most money? The sex industry. I live near an area where they have, well, it's known for the sex industry. Those businesses never, hardly ever fall out of business. When we had that big crunch in 2008, they didn't lose business. In fact, when people get stressed out, when some guys get stressed out, they go to those sex places. And what happens in those sex places? You got a lot of energy that's being produced, and they suck that. And the money you pay to go in, it just represents the time in there that you spent X amount of time at this establishment, and they can approximate how much energy they got out from it. Yeah? So, this is something, and I perceive with myself there's a lot of things going on stealth. I went to this agency that they cut this particular benefit from me. I did go in person on the 10th, June 10th, and then I went again yesterday. So I just know that I sense that when I initially got that letter from that government agency, that I knew that it was going to come to this point, that they're going to pull me off the benefit list for this agency. So I think it's not by accident, and I see that that the system is so interconnected. Like, you can go one place, but it's indirectly related to another place. And you don't think, well, why would my little video that hardly get any views, why should it make a difference? Well, maybe I'm touching on something they don't want me to touch. Maybe when I did the video, putting the Freedom of Information Act, that maybe they're upset about it. And so they want to penalize. They don't want their currency to stop. Just like in the movie The Matrix. They didn't want people to wake up. And what happened to Neo when they saw that someone was trying to wake him up? They put a scan on him, a tracker that looked like that bug that went in his belly button. And then I think they like to kind of wipe his mind. They didn't want him to know. They just made him think that it was a dream and not real. So a lot of things are interconnected, and they want to keep you asleep. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the harassment. This is awful. This is awful. So I hope I get an opportunity to talk to that guy who has that son and let him know that he should check and find out what they did to his boy, to take a little boy away from his father, and the mother had just died of cancer, and then say that he cannot visit his son. There's something going on. people, there's things going on. And you know, anyone who's listening to this video, if you have children or you take care of children, you know, let's say your grandma, or auntie, you know, your mom, or a dad, or grandpa, grandfather, you know, check your children's records. Ask to do a FOIA on your children and find out whether any psychological IQ tests were done, and communicate with the kids. Find out, are they taking you away to some remote place? Do something, communicate something to your child. That little thing could be something simple, like, oh, could you get me a teddy bear or whatever? And that could mean, hey, mommy, daddy, you know, family, things are being done to me that I don't understand. Okay? It's about informing one another to be on the same page so that you could protect yourself. So that's all that I'm going to say right now. And I thank you for listening. Peace, love, and joy to you all. Bye-bye.